Good morning, everybody. How is it going today? I hope you're having a great morning today. Happy Sunday to all of you. I always have to check outside. It is a cloudy, cold day here in Tokyo. And in fact, I was awakened today by an earthquake. So we haven't had really a big earthquake here in Tokyo. Well, I know parts of Japan have had really big earthquakes and a lot of devastation. Haven't really had a big one here in Tokyo for a while. And this morning, very, very short earthquake. Probably lasted only like 3 to 5 seconds, but it was big. It was big. So it was kind of like an alarm clock, a wake up call. So I was able to wake up with that, unfortunately. But it was very short. I'm sure everyone's fine. And I hope you are doing fine as well, wherever you are. Today, we are going to do kind of like an intermediate to advanced English lesson. Even though it's intermediate and advanced, it's actually not very difficult. It's actually quite easy. But it is an intermediate to advanced lesson. But even if you are a beginner, you can do today's lesson. It's not that difficult. If you see, if you look at the title of today's lesson, it says used to versus would. Used to versus would. That's what we are going to study today. As always, I will put the lesson on the screen as I have just now. And we will wait a little bit of time while people join in today. I just put a notification on my community site. So I think people will slowly start to join. But in the meantime, while we are waiting for everybody to join, let's look at the very first vocabulary today. It says, get in touch. Get in touch. Does anybody know what this means? And if we look at the sentence, it gives us, a little bit of an idea of what it means. It says, I usually get in touch with my sister once a week. I usually get in touch with my sister once a week. So basically what this is going to mean, it's going to mean I will contact my sister once a week. So get in touch means to contact. It means to communicate. Contact or communicate. So that means you are either calling them or you're emailing them or you're sending a text message. You are contacting them or communicating with them in some way. And so in this sentence, it says, I usually get in touch with my sister once a week. All right. I have 2 sisters. So yeah, I try. Recently, I've been really bad. I haven't done that recently. So I should contact my sisters. Supergirl, good morning. Good morning. How are you today? All right, so we're just going to wait a little bit more while we wait for people to join. I just put the notification out there a little while ago. Sunday, again, I'm starting a little bit later. I'm hoping it's easier for people to join. I'm going to put a new message here. So just okay. Who else do we have here? XYZ, good morning. Giro, good morning or good evening. Good evening. Yeah, it's probably like 8 p.m. over there in Boston. I think something like that. Almost 8 p.m. maybe 9 p.m. Good evening, Jero. YFS. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? So yeah, so if you look at the screen, we've got get in touch means contact or communicate. Today's lesson is going to be on used to versus would. Used to versus would. And as I said, it's an intermediate to advanced lesson. But even if you're a beginner, you can do this lesson. The great thing about this, it says used to versus would, meaning that they are completely different. But the great thing about this grammar is used to and would, these two things, they have the same meaning, exactly the same meaning. So I can just put a big equal sign right here because they are the same. But we use them in a little bit of a different way. Let's go over what used to means first. So if we look at used to, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so people can see easier. Okay, there we go. Everything's fitting here. So as it says here, used to, we use this to talk about something that I did in the past, or something that was in the past or present in the past, but not now. Okay, again, so that means it was in the past. It was an action in the past that I did, but now I don't. And it doesn't have to be only an action. You can talk about your appearance as well. Maybe in the past, your appearance was one way, but now it's not. Now it's different. So in that situation, we use used to. For example, this is a really easy example to understand. I used to smoke a pack a day, but I quit last year. All right, so that means right now I don't smoke, but in the past I smoked. That means I smoked a lot. I have never smoked, but I think that's an easy example. Here's another one. I think another easy example that people can understand is I used to be really shy in high school. That means now you are not shy. But in high school, I used to be shy. This is actually true for me. I used to be very shy in elementary school and junior high school. But something happened in high school. Something changed and I became very outgoing and never shy. All right. So if you want to make a sentence using used to, let's look at the grammar pattern. We're going to use used to plus a verb. Plus a verb. Now, this verb is going to be the infinitive. That means no ing, no past tense. It's just a regular verb. So I used to be. I used to smoke. I used to have. I used to go. So it's used to plus a verb. Okay. Oh, we got an ambulance going by my house. Now let's look at would. Would, as I said before, would and used to have the same meaning. Exactly the same meaning. And you can see it's written right here. The same meaning. Same meaning as used to. All right. So, and how do we make it? We make it in the same way. Would plus a verb. All right. So again, I said would be, would get, would go. We make the sentence in the same way. All right. So it has the same meaning. We make the sentence. The grammar is the same way. So what's the difference? What's the difference? When do I use used to? When do I use would? Well, this is the difference. The one difference between would and used to is right here. Right here. When I want to use would, I am saying that the action was repeated regularly in the past. This is a regular, repeated action in the past. So, for example, before I talked about appearance, I could say, I used to have long hair. I used to have long hair. So this is not a repeated action. So I can't use would in this situation. Would is only for an action that was regular. It was repeated. I always did it every week, every day, every month. There is a routine. If we're talking about this, a routine, a repeated action, then we can use the verb would. Now, to better understand this, let's look at the example sentence. All right, so let's look at the first sentence here. When I was a child, my father would read to me every night. Now, my father does not read to me. So it's a past action. And this action was every night. Every night, my father would read to me. So instead of used to, I put would. Now, if you put, for example, instead of used to, or instead of would, you put used to here, the grammar is fine. You can put used to. You don't have to put would. That's okay. But in English, we want to give the feeling that this is a repeated action. It's a routine in the past. So we will, we will use would instead of used to. All right, let's look at the second example here. It says, every time my mom came home, I would give her a big hug. So this is saying every time my mom, comes home, she walks through the door, I would give her a big hug. It was a repeated action in the past. Now I don't live with my mom. I don't live with my mom, so it's not happening now. This is about the past only. Fusa, ohayou gozaimasu. Ohayou gozaimasu. Kyou mo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Thank you very much, Fusa. HS, good morning. Good morning. It's 8 p.m. Yeah, that's what I thought. 8 p.m. All right. All right, so the difference between used to and would is that we use would to talk about a repeated action in the past, routine in the past, but not now. All right, does that make sense? Now, in this next exercise, in all of the exercises, if you use only used to for every question, every exercise, you just put used to plus verb, you'll be correct. Because grammatically, there's no difference. And the meaning is basically the same. But would to just gives that nuance of repetitive action in the past. So to better understand when to use would or when to use used to, let's look at an exercise. Now, number one, Number one over here, I am going to be very easy. I'm going to be very nice because I'm giving you the verb. I'm giving you the verbs. So if you just put used to be, used to hide, you're correct. But I want you to try to understand the difference. Used to is an action that was in the past, but not now. Would is for the repeated action in the past, but not now. So for this question, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. What will we use? Will we use would or used to for each of these blank spaces? So I used to be or I would be. I used to hide or I would hide. Please put your answers in the comment section. Now, number one, I will do with you. So number one, we're saying shy. Now, shy is not an action. It's my personality. So if we're talking about a personality, this is not a repeated action. This is the state of my personality. So we can't use would. You know, in this situation, we have to use used to. So I used to be very shy. Then in the next one, it says, whenever a stranger came to our house, I hide in my room. All right. The key word here is going to be whenever. Whenever is the key word. That means there is a repeated action. It means every time when a stranger came to my house. So this is repeated action. So I would say would hide in my room. All right, so I used to be so shy. I used to be very shy. So whenever a stranger came to my house, I would hide in my room. I didn't want to meet them. And Supergirl, perfect. Used to be and would hide. Okay, that's perfect. So number one, we did it together. Number one, I'm giving you the verbs. Let's look at number two. If you look at number two, I've got a big question mark here. That means I'm not going to give you the verb. So I was only nice for number one. From number two, you have to think of the verb. So you have to use either used to or would plus a verb. So let's look at the sentence. The sentence says, I remember my Uncle Sam very well. Every time he came to our house, he something me a present. What is your answer for this? I remember my Uncle Sam very well. Every time he came to our house, he something me a present. And XYZ, he would get me a present. Supergirl, he would bring me a present. Both of you are correct. Every time he came to our house, he would bring me a present. Every time he came to our house, he would get me a present. I think bring is probably the better choice. Get will work. Bring is better. YFS, every time he came to our house, he used to bring me a present. Now, again, remember, used to is the almighty. Used to can work in every situation. Would cannot. Would is only for a repeated action. So used to bring grammatically is correct. But because I have this keyword every time, I think it's better to use would bring. That is the difference. It's a repeated action every time he came to the house. Okay, good. Let's move on to number 3. All right, so like I said, I'm not giving you the verbs now. All right, I'm going to put the answer here just for people who are joining late. You can see the answers for number 2. Anybody who's watching on the replay right now, hello, welcome. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the lesson. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section and I will answer all of your questions. Also, people on the replay, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. There's a lot of good content, a lot of good lessons that will help you speak English better. And I'll be posting a lot of new lessons and doing a lot of live lessons. So make sure you subscribe. Number three. So every time it's continue, I see. Thank you. Perfect. No problem. Yeah. So illiteracy. Illiteracy is still a problem in many countries, but it's something worse. And YFS has a question. What's illiteracy? What's illiteracy? Does anybody know what this means? It's quite difficult vocabulary. It's a very difficult vocabulary word. Illiteracy. This is a noun. All right, so that's one thing I can tell you. It's a noun. Has anyone ever heard of this word before? Illiteracy. Everybody here watching who's live right now and who is commenting, who have commented, right? Illiteracy is a noun. Illiterate is the adjective. All of you are not illiterate. Illiteracy means the inability, not able to, cannot read or write. Cannot read or write. And there are a lot of people in the world who are illiterate. They cannot read or write. XYZ, perfect. Not be able to read and write. Yes. So it says illiteracy is still a problem in many countries, but it's something worse. Will you use used to plus a verb or would plus a verb? And then what verb will you use? Now, I'll give you guys a hint. Supergirl, wow, another new word for me. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, illiteracy. And then you know what? I'll make a banner here for it as well. So illiteracy is a noun. And then illiterate is the adjective. Okay, so what do we have here? XYZ answers, but it used to be worse. YFS used to be worse. Yes. Now, I want everybody to listen very carefully. Listen carefully. If you're doing something else right now, if you're watching TV, you're eating breakfast, and this is just background noise, I want you to stop what you're doing. I want you to listen very carefully. Come close to your computer, smartphone, or tablet. This worse is an adjective. Worse is an adjective. If you only remember one thing about today's lesson, I want you to remember this. Whenever you use an adjective, we always use the be verb. we always use the be verb. Be verb plus an adjective. Please remember that. All right, so perfect. Used to be worse. Yeah, it used to be worse. It used to be much worse. Illiteracy is getting better, but yeah, there is still this issue in some countries, and even in America, there is the issue of illiteracy. All right, number four. I'll put the answer for number 3 here. Used to be worse. All right, number 4. I something afraid of flying. My heart something pounding so hard every time I got on a plane. I something afraid of flying. My heart something pounding so hard every time I got on a plane. What are your answers for this? Now, I just gave you a huge hint. You know, if it's an adjective, we're going to use be verb. All right, so we've got here YFS. I used to be afraid of flying. My heart wouldn't stop pounding so hard every time I got on a plane. Yeah, that works. That works. Same answer for XYZ. Yeah, used to be and wouldn't stop pounding. Yeah, very good. You could even do the opposite as well for the second one. You could say would start pounding. Wouldn't stop pounding. That's also perfect. So used to be afraid of flying. My heart would start pounding. My heart wouldn't stop pounding so hard every time I got on a plane. Okay, perfect. Good job. And remember, any questions about vocabulary, just ask me. So YFS asked me, so don't be shy. Supergirl, I used to be afraid of flying. My heart would begin pounding so hard every time I got on the plane. Perfect. Would begin is also possible. All right, now let's go to number 5. Unfortunately, number 4 will be gone. Number 5 says, I something hockey when I was young. I something every morning at 5 a.m. for practices. I something hockey when I was young. I something every morning at 5 a.m. for practices. What are your answers here? So remember, we are using either used to or would. So that is our grammar today. If anybody's joining late, we are looking at the differences between used to and would. Used to and would. So you're going to use used to plus a verb and then would plus a verb. So used to, again, is you're talking about a past action, but not now. A past action, but not now. And of course, would we're talking about a repeated past action. So would is going to be a repeated past action. So number 5, XYZ, I used to play hockey when I was young. I would wake up every morning at 5 a.m. for practices. Perfect. YFS, I used to play hockey when I was young. I would get up every morning at 5 a.m. for practices. Perfect. Supergirl, I used to play hockey when I was young. I would wake up every morning at 5 a.m. for practices. That is correct. Kaz, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? Good morning. So by the way, if you're wondering, some of this information, some of this is true about me, some is not. I never played hockey when I was young. I used to play hockey when I was young. I would get up every morning or wake up. Wake up is also fine at 5 a.m. for practices. Yeah, I never used to play hockey, but most of my friends did, and this would be their routine. They would wake up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. for practices every morning, and then they would come to school. All right, so remember, we're going used to versus would. Used to is a past action, not now. Would is the same meaning, but it's a repeated past action. Okay, let's look at number 6. Number 6. It says, sometimes I something school when I was in high school and go to the beach. Sometimes I something school when I was in high school and go to the beach. What would be your answer here? Are you going to use used to talk about a past action, but not now? Or are you going to use would, which is a repeated past action? And then, of course, which verb will you use for number 6? So you need used to plus a verb or would plus a verb. So sometimes I used to something. Sometimes I would something school when I was in high school and go to the beach. What would be your answer for this? So if you look here, we're saying, we've got school, we've got high school, then go to the beach, which is kind of strange. Usually, if you're in high school, all right, so we've got a couple of answers here. XYZ says, sometimes I used to go home early from school when I was in high school and go to the beach. Perfect. Perfect. You've added a lot of words. YFS, same thing. You made it a little shorter. Used to skip school when I was in high school and go to the beach. All right. So go home early from school or skip. Skip means you don't even go. You don't go to school. You just do something else. This information is true for me. Sometimes, and now as well, I'm going to add one little thing here. If it's me, I would use would. Sometimes I would skip school when I was in high school. The key word here is sometimes. Sometimes is also talking about a repeated action. So sometimes is also talking about a repeated action. If you use used to, again, it's correct. There's no problem. There's no problem. You could use used to. That's correct. Grammatically, it's correct. But in this situation, personally, I would use would. Sometimes I would skip school when I was in high school and go to the beach. Yes, skip. All right. So whenever you're making sentences, you want to have these key words, words like every morning, every time, whenever, sometimes, usually. These words are telling you about a routine, a repeated action. So in those situations, it's great to use would plus the verb. All right, let's look at number 7. I'm going to keep number 6 up here. My sister something a sports car when she was in university, but she something anyone drive it. This is probably, so far, this will be the most difficult one. My sister something a sports car when she was in university, but she something anyone drive it. What do you think the answer for this is? So are you going to be using used to or would in this situation? And again, remember, you always need the verb as well. So here we got sports car. And then this one is, the first part is easy, I think. It's not that difficult. The second one here is going to be a little bit difficult. She something anyone drive it. All right, so we've got here YFS. My sister used to drive a sports car when she was in university, but she wouldn't let anyone drive it. Yeah, that works. XYZ, same answer. Perfect. Yeah. Your second part is perfect. Wouldn't let anyone. That is definitely correct. Supergirl, you put wouldn't share. If you want to put share in this situation, you would have to say share it with anyone. Share it with anyone. So it becomes much longer. So for that reason, I would say here, wouldn't let is probably the best choice. And if you notice, negative is also okay. Wouldn't. So it's a repeated action. She never let anyone drive it. And first part, my sister used to drive a sports car when she was in university, but she wouldn't let anyone drive it. That's okay. Perfect. Personally, I'm going to put here my sister used to have a sports car when she was in university, but she wouldn't let anyone drive it. Now, all of you who put drive, XYZ, Supergirl, YFS, you put drive. That's fine. It's completely fine. So why did I use have? Why didn't I use drive? For me, it's whenever I speak English, whenever I'm writing English, I don't like to repeat words. And I think most native English speakers, and I think when you're speaking your own language, you don't want to repeat words. So especially in the same sentence. So if I put drive here, it's completely fine. The grammar is fine. It's a great sentence, but then that means I've got drive here and then I've got drive here. So it's 2 times in one sentence. So it doesn't sound so smooth. It doesn't sound so beautiful or eloquent. So it's good to have variety. Use different words when you're speaking. Okay, but again, grammatically, you're fine. Drive is fine. XYZ, can we say used to own? Perfect. Yes. My sister used to own a sports car when she was in university, but she wouldn't let anyone drive it. Yeah, that's perfect. It's great. That's great. Yeah, I like that one. Used to own. So again, we're using different verbs. We're making our sentences sound more eloquent. All right, great job, XYZ. All right, let's look at number 8. What does number 8 say? When I was a child and got sick, my mother something Vicks vapor rub on my chest. Vicks vapor rub. Does it? I think this is probably universal, isn't it? A Vicks vapor rub. I know in Canada we have that. I know in Japan we have it. In the US we had it. I think it's pretty much everywhere. YFS. Wow, we need to have lots of vocabularies. No, vocabulary is not countable. So vocabulary, no S, to sound smarter. I don't know if it makes you sound smarter. It just makes it sound more beautiful, I think. And like in the example above, have is not a difficult vocabulary word. So I know definitely YFS, you can do it. I think all of you can do it. So don't worry. Yeah, we do need to know vocabulary, but not difficult vocabulary. So yeah, very good comment, YFS. So number 8, when I was a child and got sick, my mother, something Vicks vapor rub on my chest. If you are living somewhere and you don't have Vicks vapor rub, you don't know what it is. Basically, I'll explain it now. Vicks is the company's name. It's a brand name. Vapor rub. So basically, it's like a gel. It's almost like hair gel. Looks like hair gel. It's a gel, and it's got a lot of menthol in it. So what you would do is you would rub it. Oh my God, I gave you the answer. You would put it on your chest, and the menthol will kind of open up your lungs, open up your sinuses. It helps you breathe easier. Some people would put it into a machine, a steam machine. And so the menthol goes into the air. So the steam becomes this menthol, and it helps you to breathe easier. So if you have a cold, if you got sick, a lot of mothers, fathers would use this Vicks vapor rub. So I did give you the answer, unfortunately. So YFS, when I was a child and got sick, my mother would put Vicks vapor rub on my chest, would use Vicks vapor rub on my chest, would apply Vicks vapor rub on my chest. Now, I like all these are great verbs, and I like it because you could put here, and I like everybody used would. Everybody used would because we're talking about every time I got sick. So it's a repeated action. So that's perfect. Would is perfect. You could have just said would rub. When I was a child and got sick, my mother would rub Vicks vapor rub on my chest. That's fine. But like I said, rub and rub. We don't really want to repeat words. So Supergirl, you put apply. perfect. YFS, put, perfect. Use XYZ, perfect. So we're having more variety in our sentences. Okay, excellent. Good job. Good job, good job, good job. Now we have 2 more, and then we're going to do 1 more exercise, and then we'll call it a day. Let's look at number. If you have any questions about these, if I move too fast, you can always pause and watch it again. Let's do number 9. Number 9 is very long. Number 9 is very long. There's many blank spaces here. So number 9, I something, a soccer coach in a university. I coached a high school boys team. Every weekend, we something, an early morning game. During the games, my girlfriend something from the stands and cheer us on. What are your answers here? So remember, we're using the differences between used to and would. Used to is only talking about a past action, not now. Would is also a past action, but it's a repeated past action. So if you're talking about personality, we don't use would. If you're talking about appearance, we don't use would. If you're talking about, your job, we don't use would. But maybe the actions at your job, we could use would. So number 9, something, a soccer coach in university. I coached a high school boys team. Every weekend, we something, an early morning game. During the games, my girlfriend something from the stands and cheer us on. So here, because we've got soccer coach, this is not an action. It's not a repeated action. So we are going to be using used to in this situation. So now it's just a matter of what verb do I use here? I used to something a soccer coach. That means not now, in the past. So I used to be a soccer coach in university. That was this person's job. I used to be a soccer coach in university. I coached a high school boys team. Every weekend, all right, so we've got the hint every weekend. It's showing repetition. All right, so now I know, because of every weekend, I know I must use would here. And we're talking about an early morning game, So for a game, we can use many verbs. We could use the verb play. We could use, for me, the verb have. Every weekend, we would have a game. We would play an early game. Okay, there's 2 verbs you can use here. And last one, during the games, my girlfriend, right, would, because it's every game, we're talking about repetition. So the repetition here, during the games, my girlfriend would watch from the stands and cheer us on. Perfect. So we've got some answers here. YFS used to be, would play, would watch. Perfect. XYZ used to be, would have, used to watch. Supergirl used to be, would have, would come and watch. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. And Last one, number 10. Number 10 is actually true for me. This is actually true information, number 10. So we've got my sister, something near a forest. Once in a while, she something, a deer or bear in her backyard. In winter, the animals something down from the mountains looking for food to eat. We should put a comma here. In winter, the animals something down from the mountains looking for food to eat. What are your answers for this? Okay, so YFS, you've got an answer here. My sister used to live near a forest. Once in a while, she would see a deer or bear in her backyard. In winter, the animals would come down from the mountains looking for food to eat. Perfect, YFS. Perfect. YFS, or XYZ, sorry, used to live, would see, would come. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And this is true. The only not true thing about this, it's not used to. My sister now actually lives near a forest, and once in a while, she sees deers or bears in her backyard. In fact, the last time I was in Canada and I visited my sister, I saw some deer in her backyard. All right, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so that's the end of this exercise. We're going to do one more exercise, a few questions in the next exercise. The next one will be a little bit more difficult because it's your turn to make sentences. The exercise we did right now, it was a little bit challenging because you had to think of the verbs to use. Now it's going to become even more challenging because you must think of the whole sentence. And of course, I need you to choose used to or would. Please choose one of them. Okay. Let's see. We got one more answer from Supergirl. My sister used to live near a forest. Once in a while, she would see a deer or bear in the backyard. In winter, the animals would be hungry and come down from the mountains looking for food to eat. Excellent. So you added some more content, more information. Would be hungry and come down from the mountains. Perfect. Perfect sentence, Supergirl. Okay, so again, please use used to or would. And remember, used to, we're talking about a past action, but not now. And would is also a past action, not now, but it's a repeated past action. So please choose one of these for the next exercise. And let's look at the next exercise now. So next exercise now, I'm giving you some information. So I'll put number 1 and 2. If anybody wants to do 2 of them at the same time, that's fine. Number 1 says 5 a.m. And the other information is every weekday. And then final piece of information is high school. 5 a.m. every weekday, high school. Please use this information to make a sentence. Now, for me, automatically I see the word every weekday. Because I see every weekday, I know it's a repeated past action. So I'm going to use would. All right. I know it's going to be a repeated action. So I even use would. Now I have to get some more information. It's 5 a.m. and we're talking about high school, right? So when I was in high school. So using this information, we must make a sentence. So what sentence would you make for that? And I'll do number one for everyone, and then after that, you can do all of the other ones. So for me, if I'm looking at this information, 5 a.m. every weekday, high school, I'm using would. My answer would be, I would wake up at 5 a.m. every weekday when I was in high school. That would be my answer. I would wake up at 5 a.m. every weekday when I was in high school. Now, there is information here that you don't need. So, for instance, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this sentence even easier. Now my sentence becomes this. I would wake up at 5 a.m. when I was in high school. I would wake up at 5 a.m. when I was in high school. We don't need to say every weekday because it's kind of like common sense. You're talking about high school. So we know it's Monday to Friday. So if you want, you don't have to say every weekday, but it's still a repeated action. Supergirl, when I was in high school, I would get up every weekday, and I think you forgot your time at 5 a.m. Very good. Every weekday, I would wake up at 5 a.m. when I was in high school. Perfect. Yeah. So the order can be completely different depending on yourself, how you like to do it. Supergirl started with when I was in high school. And XYZ ended with when I was in high school. I end with when I was in high school. Okay, so it's always up to you. Okay, number two. Number two says long hair. Long hair. So first, will you use used to or will you use would? And let's make a sentence. So long hair. Is this a repeated action? Or is it just something that was the past but not now? All right, XYZ, I used to have long hair. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Very, very simple. I used to have long hair. Excellent. That's probably the easiest and best answer for this. FOIFS, I used to have long hair. Perfect. All right. Let's look at number three. We just have the word meet. We just have the word meet. Now, this is just your idea. You don't have to use this word in the sentence. It's just sort of your theme. So use this information and make any sentence. But of course, make sure that you have used to or would in the sentence. Your idea, your topic, your theme is meet. And there's so many different answers. So anybody, if you have a different answer than what I share on the screen or what someone shares in the comment section, then leave your answer in the comment section, especially people watching on the replay. And I will definitely check it and let you know if it's correct. Let's see here. Supergirl says, I used to eat meat. Perfect. That means you don't eat meat now. That means you don't eat meat now. XYZ, I would love to make meat dish. So this one here, because you're using love, I would love to. That means more I want to. I want to. I would love to. Okay, so with love and to, this becomes more, I'm going to put it on the screen here. You know, not there, right here. Would like equals want. So would love equals a stronger want as well. So whenever you're using words like love, it's emotion. So it's better to use used to, right? Now, also, what I want you to say, whenever you're using love, my advice to you, it would be to use that would be my advice there. Use ing. Use ing for that situation. I used to love making. That will sound a little bit more fluent. But yeah, so I would say not would love because that means want. I would buy meat twice a week. Perfect. Now it's a repeated action. XYZ, you're very welcome. Yeah, could be. There's so many different answers. So YFS is a repeated action about the purchase of meat twice a week. Supergirls is more, she's a vegetarian now. Can be anything. I used to hate lamb, but I kind of like it now. All right, so there's many different answers. Okay, what about number 4? Los Angeles. Los Angeles. What would your answer be for this? What sentence would you make for Los Angeles? And you have to remember, again, used to, you can use would, and Los Angeles could be your subject. You could say Los Angeles used to, Los Angeles would. That's also fine. You could use I as your subject. You could use he, she, my sister, my brother, my mother, my father. XYZ used I. I used to live in LA. And you know what? I can't believe I didn't tell everyone. Hopefully everybody is still watching. There's something I should have said at the very beginning of this lesson, and I forgot, and I'm going to say it now. Used to is how we write it. How we write it. Okay, it's USED and then TO. But if we're looking at pronunciation, okay, so we're looking at the pronunciation of this. Pronunciation is going to be this, used to. Okay, used to. We don't say the D when we're speaking. When you're writing, please write the D. But when I'm speaking, we do not say the D. We just say used to. I used to live in Los Angeles, like XYZ just wrote. I used to live. YFS, I used to love visiting LA. Yeah, that means you don't like it anymore. You don't like visiting LA. Supergirl, I used to dream to go to Disneyland in LA. Yeah, great. Great. I used to dream to go to Disneyland in LA. Perfect. Supergirl, have you ever been to Disneyland in LA? If you have, then you know it's how good it is. If you haven't, then definitely try to go. It's amazing. So YFS, oh, I love, but it's too expensive now. Yeah. So if you don't say the expensive part, then your original sentence, I used to love visiting LA. The nuance, the feeling is you don't love visiting LA now. So maybe go would be something better. I would go. I used to go to LA. I used to love going to LA. Supergirl. Oh, you went there. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, Disneyland is amazing. There's Disneylands in many countries. In fact, Tokyo has a Disneyland as well, and Tokyo is great. It's fine. It's a lot of fun. It's beautiful, but Disneyland in Los Angeles is just different. It's so much better. You're welcome, YFS. Yeah, so we have I as a subject. If you wanted, you could make, Los Angeles used to be safer. Los Angeles could be your subject. Los Angeles used to be safer. That means it's not as safe now. Or maybe Los Angeles used to be more dangerous. That means now it's safer. Okay. All right, let's do a couple more and then we'll call it night or a day or morning, whatever time. We are going to do let's do number 7 and 8 now, and number 9 and number 10. That is your homework. If you just want to do one for homework, number 9, that's fine. If you want to challenge yourself, do both 9 and 10. Let's do 7 and 8 now together, and 9 and 10 you can do for homework, or just choose one if you don't have time. So number 7, the information that we see is shower. Shower. And remember, have to use used to or would. Used to or would. Make a sentence using used to or would. And your information for number 7 is just shower. What sentence would you make for that? That's just, it's not that difficult, but you want to make a sentence that kind of makes sense a little bit. XYZ has one here. I would take a shower every morning. But not now? Wife says, I used to have a shower every morning. Good. Good. I think for this one here, it's better to add a little bit more information. Because just this information, I used to have a shower every morning, or I would take a shower every morning, that means you don't now. So my feeling is, oh, some days you're not taking a shower. But what I think, I think what you want to say, both YFS and XYZ, I think what you're meaning is, I used to take a shower every morning, But now I do it at night. Maybe that's the sentence you want to make. Just adding a little bit extra information. Now I do it at night. Now it's telling the listener, yeah, I'm still showering every day. It's just the time is different now. It's not in the morning, but it's at night. If you don't add the information about nighttime, then it feels like, oh, some days you don't shower. So YFS, yeah. So I take a bath at night with my kids at night. Yeah. So yeah, maybe adding that information you would be a little better. So I used to have a shower every morning, but now I take a bath at night with my kids. So sometimes you need to add a little bit extra information. Okay, what about number 8? Last one. Number 8, we've got grandparents and we've got every summer. Grandparents and every summer. And remember, number 9 and number 10, that's homework. So you can see all of it on the screen now. So anybody who's watching on the replay, the homework is really mainly catering for you guys because I know we're answering most of the questions during the live. So if you couldn't join me during the live, do number 9 and 10 for homework. So XYZ, yeah, I'm taking a bath and shower every day, but at night. Yeah, so adding that information at night maybe makes the sentence a little bit better for you. Otherwise, a listener will feel, oh, sometimes you don't take a shower. Wow. And anybody who wants more practice, as you can see, and I'm going to go slowly. So number 5 and 6, we've got roast chicken every Sunday. And number 6 is train. If you want to do 5 and 6 as well, if you want to challenge making some sentences and you want me to check, yeah, you can do 5 and 6 also for homework and 9 and 10. That is up to you. So XYZ has an answer for grandparents. I used to visit my grandparents every summer. Perfect. Now, because you've got the word every, you could also use would. I would visit my grandparents every summer. But again, used to is kind of like it works in every situation. So used to is completely fine. Okay. Are there any other people who want to answer number 9? Sorry, not number 9, number 8. Number 8. My apologies. Number 8. Grandparents every summer. And again, the order of your sentences can be different. You could start with every summer. Every summer during my holidays, my family would visit my grandparents. XYZ or YFS has a different answer. My grandparents would come to visit us every summer, but we visit them during summer now instead. Don't forget the word now. So my grandparents, don't forget my grandparents would come to visit us every summer, but we visit them during summer instead now. Okay. You could also say, but now we visit them during summer instead. So now can be in either location, but you must put the word now. Perfect. That's a great sentence, YFS. Very, very good sentence. Okay, excellent. Good job, YFS XYZ. Well done. So, as I said before, number 9 and number 10 is for homework. Now, we are looking at the difference between used to and would. Now, used to and would, remember, it has basically the same meaning. We're talking about an action in the past or a state of mind, a state of appearance, a state of personality, your job. It's past action, but not now. And the only difference is would is going to be repeated. It's every weekend, every day, sometimes, whenever, usually. All of these words that talk about repetition, about routine, we can use would, but it has the same meaning. If you're confused, oh, do I use would or used to? Then in that situation, always use used to. Used to, you will never make a mistake. It can be used in any situation to talk about the past, but not now. YFS, yeah, so you fixed my grandparents would come to visit us every summer, but now we visit them during the summer, during summer instead. Perfect. Supergirl, my grandparents used to have a very long vacation trip every summer. No trip. Vacation and trip, it's kind of similar meanings. So we don't want to repeat similar words. So my grandparents used to have a very long trip every summer. My grandparents used to have a very long vacation every summer. Perfect. Good job, Supergirl. All right. Does anybody have any questions about today's lesson or about any English topic? If you do, let me know. Put it in the comments section. Remember 9 and 10 for homework. If you want to do 5 and 6 as well for homework, that's okay as well. Supergirl, you are very welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, so it's always, like I said before, in one sentence, we don't want to repeat the same word, but we also don't want to use similar words next to each other, yeah, in a sentence, because it's just repetitive. XYZ, what's the next coming up event in English culture? It is January now. The next biggest sort of cultural event in Western culture right now will be Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, February 14. And in fact, that is my mom's birthday. My mom was born on February 14th. So February 14th, it's my mom's birthday. Everybody, please say happy birthday to my mom. Happy birthday, Mom, on Valentine's Day. Good question. XYZ, good question. Yeah, Valentine's Day will be the next one. After that, we'll have Easter, I believe. Easter will be the next one. So the Easter bunny will come to your house and hide chocolate eggs everywhere. All right, Supergirl. Happy birthday, Shelly's mom. Yeah. XYZ. Happy birthday, Mom. Yes, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I actually know, other than my mom, I know 2 other people who have birthdays on Valentine's Day. My family, yeah, my mom's birthday is Valentine's Day. My birthday is on Halloween. So in my family, we have birthdays on these other event days. My sister, one of my sisters, her birthday is like 2 days after Christmas. So very easy to remember our birthdays. Okay, if there are no questions, that's great. That means everybody understands, at least I hope. If you think of a question later, just leave it in the comment section. I will answer all of your questions. So number 9 and number 10. So number 9 says before smartphones, and then paper maps. And number 10, all night exams. Student, please make these sentences and put them in the comment section for homework. XYZ has a comment. In your culture, there isn't a white day. No. And for people who are wondering what is white day, I live in Japan, so I know this. So I know XYZ, you must be living in Japan or Korea. You could be in Korea as well. In Japan, and I believe in Korea as well, they have a day. It's called White Day. Now, White Day is going to be March 14. So February 14 is Valentine's Day. March 14 is White Day. And no, we don't have that. This is only in Japan and Korea, maybe other Asian countries. And for people who are wondering what it is, White Day is the same as Valentine's Day. But what they do here in Japan and what they do in Korea is on Valentine's Day, the women, the females, will buy presents, chocolate, and give it to the guys. And then on White Day, it's the reverse. The guys will give to the girls. So they separate it. No, we do not have that. We do not have that. In US and Canada, it's only Valentine's Day. And in fact, it's mainly the guys, the men giving to the women. That's probably more important. Women will also give, but I think it's important that culturally, I think the men will be, it's more pressure for the men or the guys to give to the women. But yeah, there's no White Day. And I know in Korea, they also have Black Day, which is, what is it? February, March, April 14. And that is a day, I believe, and if I'm incorrect, if there are any Korean people watching and I'm not correct, please correct me. And I apologize, but I believe Black Day is April 14. And that's the day when, if you're single, you don't have a spouse, a partner, then you go out with your friends on that day, April 14, and you would eat, it's a dish called jjajangmyeon. And it's a black dish. It's like, I think they're using black sesame. It's very delicious. So single people will go out during that time and eat that food. And that's Black Day. So XYZ, is it true? I heard mainly boys will do the hard work, asking for a date or buying flowers or presents. Yeah, usually that's true. Usually in the past, that would be true. The guys will ask the girls, will you be my Valentine? You take them out for dinner. You buy presents, jewelry, flowers, chocolate. Getting dinner reservations on Valentine's Day is super, super hard. You really have to, a couple of months before Valentine's, you need to make your reservation because every couple is going out for dinner on Valentine's Day. So yeah, if you're ever interested in going out for dinner on Valentine's Day, definitely make your reservations early. How are the girls' response or asking him out or show appreciation of the Valentine's Day gift? I think it all depends on what you get. Like now it's, it's 2024. Things have changed. I'm sure, girls are asking guys as well now. Guys are asking guys, girls are asking girls. Everything is different. I think it's a lot more freer now. We're not stuck to the old traditions. But yeah, traditionally it was the guys asking. But now I'm sure a lot of women are asking guys. A lot of guys are asking guys, women are asking women. But what's the response, Supergirl? I think it depends on what the gift is. You know, it depends on what the gift is. If you are in a long relationship and you get like a cheap box of chocolates for your partner, they're not going to be happy. But, you know, maybe flowers, maybe some jewelry, maybe some nice chocolate, maybe a really nice dinner. I think now going out for dinner is so difficult to do in US or in Canada because there's so many reservations. And it's, I don't know, it's just all couple. It's quite awkward. I think a lot of people are probably cooking at home now for their partners, maybe. But yeah, it all depends on what the gift is. All right. Any other questions? All right. Again, remember, if you do have questions, just leave it in the comment section. If you can't think of it now, you can leave it in the comment section. If you want a copy of this lesson, let me know. I can get that for you. You need to email me. My information's on my channel. You can find it there. Just go to the About section or the more information about me. You'll see my email address there. You can email me and I can get this PDF out to you. Otherwise, my next live will be on Thursday for sure. And then, of course, next weekend as well. I won't be doing a live next Sunday. Just to let everybody know, next Sunday, I actually need to help a friend do a photo shoot next Sunday. So I will not be able to do a lesson on Sunday, I think. So tentatively, there won't be a live on next Sunday. Hopefully I can still, if I can manage to do a live on Sunday, I will. Definitely Saturday. I will be doing a lesson on Saturday and Thursday. But I'll let you know, just check my community site. Hit the notification bell. That way you can get all my messages of when I do live lessons. And I post a lot of quizzes on my community site as well. So if you hit the notification bell, you'll get the quiz on your feed, on your YouTube feed. It's just a one question fill in the blank grammar questions. I like to do those every day. So check those out as well. If you're watching on the replay and you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Hurry up. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and give me a thumbs up for this live as well. I want to thank everybody who joined during the live. Thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope you learned something that you didn't know. All right, until the next lesson. Thanks. See ya.